Hi, dreamers, and welcome to another episode of Notes from the Dreamcaster. I'm Sarissa, and today we are going to talk about how do you start? Where do you start when you're trying to decorate your living room? Stay tuned for more and join me in my own living room. All right, dreamers. So now that you have been able to recognize your style, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you want to catch back up on some of our old videos where we talked about determining what your style was and some tools in order to help you do so. But diving into today's topic of where do you start in decorating your living room or your dining room or your kitchen, whatever it is? Where do you start? Great question. And I'm going to give you the basis of where to start. Now, the very important thing to do and an important place to start when you're designing any space, whether you're thinking of doing it on your own or whether you're thinking of hiring a professional like myself or one of my many wonderful colleagues, what you want to do is you need to determine the function of the space that you're designing. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to pretend as if we are designing a living room. I'll focus in on that space there. When you're designing a living room or designing any space, when you're trying to determine what your function is, and this is, as I said, very much key information that you need to take with you and have for your designer, you want to answer two questions. Really, you want to go through the questions of who, what, when, where, why, and how. However, today I want to focus more in on who and how. So who is going to be using this space? There's many different types of people, families that come together that use the space. You have single individuals, you have husband and wives, you have families with children, you have multi-generational families. So you sometimes have families where the grandparents are there, the parents are in the house, and then they have children as well. And so you need to be able to share with your designer and make notes of who is going to actually be using this space, who's going to be hanging out in this living room for the most part, right? Now, I know that many times we plan to entertain and everything, and unless you plan on entertaining very often, you want to create some flexibility in your space for entertainment, but you don't want to completely design your space just solely around entertainment. If it's just two of you in the house and you don't want to plan your space like you're going to have 12 people there all the time, you can get ottomans and stools and different things like that in order to make other people comfortable when you are entertaining large crowds. But what you want to look at is what is the general day-to-day function of the space? And who are the people that you will be designing for? And that is the key element that you want to hone in on. And make notes. You know, I'm big about taking notes because I take a lot of notes when I go on appointments with clients. And it's really great when a client comes to me with a lot of notes about what it is that they want or what their needs are or who needs to be addressed and be considered in a design. And so with that being said, who is very important because what I do or what you may do for yourself if you have children that are 3 years old and younger, and what you may do for yourself if you have children that are teenagers are going to be two different solutions, especially like concerning, for instance, coffee tables. Most people are apprehensive about having coffee tables with corners or sharp edges for the kids that are 3 and under. But by the time they're a teenager, the parents are more so like, Johnny, why weren't you paying attention when you were coming in the living room? You didn't see the table? The table didn't just jump out and get you. You know, you don't, we tend to think differently when we're designing for babies and when we're picking out furniture when we have kids because they don't know better than when we're picking out furniture for teenagers who should know better. But anyways, so you want to just think about those dynamics. Who are you designing for? Who is going to be using this space? And also, the other thing is you want to think about how is this space going to be used? So nowadays, living rooms and family rooms have really come together for the most part in homes and in floor plans. There used to be a time when I was a kid growing up that I had the super formal living room, white couch, white rug, white everything. And then I had the family room, which was where everybody went and they hung out. You know, now back in the day, that white room, I couldn't even sit in. Okay, it was just there for display. But the family room is where you could go and you could sit and you could read, you could watch TV, you could do all kinds of stuff in. So you want to think about, how is the room going to be used? Is this room going to be a conversation only room? Is this room going to be for conversation and reading? Is this room going to be for conversation and reading and watching TV? Is this room going to be for hanging out and playing video games or hanging out and playing card games? You know, because if we're playing Uno, I have to make sure that the coffee table is right. I'm not trying to let you see my cards, because when I hit you with all of those draw twos, whoo, my friends will tell you, it's no game. All right, there's no jokes when it comes to Uno. And anybody who's played a good hand of Uno knows that you don't want to be very close to the person next to you, because you're not trying to see their hand and you don't want them to see your hand. Now, I digress. Anywho, you want to think about, how is the space going to be used? It's very important. What you want to do when you're in that space is going to determine if we need to divide up the area into zones. Like, let's say again that you have small children. You may want to have a play area, and then you may want to have like the adult area in the space. You may want to be able to tuck all the play stuff away so that you can close up some doors real quick and it looks all tidy and neat and everything when people come over. Or, you know, you may want to have, if you are an avid movie watcher, you may want to have something for your movie collections. If you still are collecting like DVDs and things like that, like many of us still are. So it's just really important for you to start asking and notating the answers to those questions, because those questions begin to develop needs. And those needs are then useful. Determining what those needs are then useful in determining what the solution is for designing the space. So, as I said, those are the two key things that you want to focus on. First is, what is the room supposed to be functioning like? How are you using this living room? What are you going to be doing in the living room? And who's going to be doing it there? Thank you so much for joining. I am Sarissa with Industrious Interiors. I'd be glad if you would follow me on Instagram and Pinterest and take a look at the many things that I am inspired by. And also, if you have any questions that you would like for me to talk about, or any topics that you would like for me to talk about, leave a comment below. If this was helpful to you, leave a comment below. Thank you so much. I just want you guys to keep on dreaming, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.